Okay, so today we're going to be starting our complementary trees project. So we'll talk about complementary colors. You're going to be drawing like the tree, actually where the leaves would be, and then the ground. And then we're going to be getting the paint ready for the trunks and the branches, okay? So when it says complementary trees, you're gonna pick complementary colors. So you're gonna just choose one today. So if I choose the color green, that means I'm gonna paint the leaves green and the hills green. And then next week, I would color the background red, okay, with the chalk, okay? If I chose the color blue to paint, or this one I did orange, but if I chose orange to paint this, that means I'd have a blue sky, okay? If I chose the color violet, then I'd have an orange sky, or they can go opposite. So you're just gonna always use the colors opposite of each other on the color wheel, okay? So our statement today is today I'll learn about colors so that I can choose 2 complementary colors to use in my artwork, okay? And the sample here was orange and blue, but remember they're just going to choose the orange for the paint, okay? I am going to choose red for mine, so that means when next week when I come in, since red is, get my color wheel, is right here. I'm going to color the sky green. And why not? It's a picture. I can color the sky however I want. So it doesn't have to be realistic. So first thing I'm going to do, like always, I'm going to write my name, Mrs. K, and my class code. Then I'm going to turn my paper over. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to draw where the tree leaves are, okay? So you're going to be showing some overlapping. So you can, I'm going to start in the center. You don't have to start in the center, and I can just do a kind of a wavy little puff, okay? Now this paper is half the size of yours, okay? So mine's bigger than the fist. Yours will probably be as big as your hand, okay? Then I'm going to have another one here, kind of coming behind it. And then one right here. Maybe this one is behind it, or maybe I'm going to make it in front. So I can erase this. So it's up to you where you want it to overlap. Okay, so I've got 3 trees, and notice that they're not too close. They're close to the edge, but it's like a finger. Maybe yours is 2 or 3 fingers widths, but I really don't want to be more than that. Now down here, I want at least a hand so that I have room to add the trunks and all that. Okay, so I've got my 3 trees, and now I'm going to have the hills. So I can have a hill here, I can have a hill there, and another hill right here. So 3 trees, 3 hills, and my name and codes on the back. Now I'm going to start with the paint. So you won't need any water because we are making tints. So tints are white with a color, okay? So I rinsed out my brush before I came over here, so you never know who used it before you. They may have done a good job cleaning, they may not. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to scoop out some white, and I'm going to scoop a little bit of red and mix it in there, and I'm getting a pink color. Okay, so if I want it to be a darker shade of pink, then I go into more red. Okay. I like that color. So now I'm going to paint, let's see, I'm going to paint this one here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to paint the edges, and I like to go kind of nice and slow around the edges so I have a nice clean edge. And notice I'm not going to any water today. I'm just going to paint in my little section, okay? So I'm going to go back in there and then paint this. And I can go a lot faster when I'm painting the inside. So I have that painted with that kind of pinky color. Now, I can use the same one, add more red, but this time I'm going to make it lighter. So I'm going to add some more white to here. So I'm scooping out white and mixing it up. I kind of twist my brush around, use a little bit more white. There you go. And I'm going to paint this next one. Going slower around the edges. And then a little bit faster in the middle. And if you make a little mistake like I just did, I'm just going to paint on the outside of it, and I kind of clean up my edge. And I kind of made a lot, so I'm kind of going around the top of this right there. Okay, so I'm gonna paint this. Okay, so then this next one, do I want it to be even lighter, or maybe I want to go darker? I'm gonna go back in and make it a little darker. So I got that painted there, and I can paint it in here. It almost looks very similar to the other one. It's a little different, but it's very, very similar, and that's okay. I'll be able to tell even more so when it dries that there's subtle differences. Now I painted the trees, the toppers of the trees. Now I'm going to paint these hills here. So I'm going to do the same thing. I can add white to it to lighten it and red to darken it. So I'm going to mix my color, twist that color around. And I'm kind of using just the 3 sections, but you have other areas you can totally use. And this time I'm going to paint this one here. And I'm painting on the table, which I should have my paint mat, which I forgot. That's okay. I'll just have to clean it up. So I'm going all the way to the edges. I had a little bit of paint on my hands, so I'm trying to be careful. So I painted that one. Now I'm going to go to this middle. So maybe this middle one, I'm going to use some red. Mix it up. I can twist my brush around. Go to this middle section here. I went a little bit over my edge there, and that's okay. I'll clean it up a bit when I do the next color. Okay, and then I can go even darker. Do I want to go lighter? I think I'm going to go lighter. Actually, I'm going to do this. Oh, that's really too light for me. Okay, never mind. But I could have. I'm just going a little bit bolder with my colors. And it makes a little bit of a mess here, and that's fine. And I'm going to paint kind of clean. See how I kind of went over that rough area right there? I kind of have a big brush. If my brush was a little bit smaller, it might be easier to get those edges. I'm going to paint all the way to the edge of the paper. And that is all you're going to do on this one, okay? So this white area, we're going to use chalk pastel next time, okay? And then we're going to take that over to the drying rack. Wipe this little area here. Thank you, Barbara. Okay. Then the next part I'm going to get is this black paper. And this black paper is what we're going to use for the branches. So with this one, you're going to write your name and class code on it because they're going to all look very, very similar. And so you'll use a pencil to write your name and class code. Then you're going to get one of these trays for your table, and that tray is going to be what we use for the background. Okay, so this one we're going to use kind of a stamping method. So it's just cardboard. There's wider part and this part here, and it's literally just go into the paint, and you're going to have lines going randomly on your paper. Okay, this is going to be a really cool bark effect on your tree. So notice I have some areas where I just put the cardboard into the white and it's very bold, and then there's other areas where I keep working that the color is much more subtle, much more lighter. Okay, so I just dip it in there and I keep doing this all the way until I fill up the paper. Okay, and it's just kind of random. It doesn't have to be like perfect or anything like that, but I'm just pressing down, making like a stamp. Okay, once you have this finished, you're going to set this aside. We're going to keep it, and we're also going to obviously keep that as well. And then this is going to go on the drying rack. So you'll have two pieces, the one you painted today, and then this one will be first, and then second one will be your branches. And then next week we'll do some cutting and gluing in the chalk.